What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now it is 15:15 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Eastern Europe and from here in the US. So late last night there was a very rare 268 character nuclear code broadcasted by U.S. nuclear forces. The average length of one of these nuclear codes is around 30 characters. So this code was nearly 10 times as long as the average length nuclear code, and they only transmit or broadcast these long codes when something big is about to go down. Like the last time they did that was during the Iran-Israel situation last month, and then before that, I think probably last year in 2024, they transmitted 268 or 290 character nuclear code when the first Israel-Iran situation happened, Operation True Promise, and then later on when Russia launched the Oreshnik at Ukraine. So this is very rare, very unusual, and it is a sign that something big could be going down very, very soon. And also something that's very concerning to me is that we've had nuke sniffers airborne over the U.S. on a 24/7 basis over the last few days. Specifically, the last 48 hours, we've had constant nuke sniffer coverage. Okay, so here we have one nuke sniffer airborne right now over Nebraska, just completing a patrol over Iowa and Nebraska. And we had one airborne all last night and then yesterday afternoon. So this is very, very unusual, guys. Typically, these nuke sniffers will just go up in the air once every week or once every month, or if something unusual is going on, but they don't typically maintain round-the-clock patrols, okay? The U.S. is now maintaining 24/7 patrols with these nuke sniffers. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is MyPatriot Supply. Guys, MyPatriot Supply is doing a massive sale on their 3-month emergency food supply. You can get 3 months of emergency food, 2,000 calories a day for just $500. That's $200 off their normal price with free shipping included. This food has a shelf life of 25 years, and it's a variety of different types of food. So if you use the link preparewithnyprepper.com, you can save $200 on their 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. That's preparewithnyprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. And if you don't know what a nuke sniffer is, it's a special plane, a Boeing WC-135R Constant Phoenix, and it can detect and sample radiation in the atmosphere. So it flies in the air and it can sample radiation, okay, to see if there's any radiation either from nuclear tests or some kind of nuclear power plant meltdown or a nuclear strike. So I don't know if the U.S. is concerned about Putin using tactical nukes on Ukraine, or if something's happening at one of the nuclear power plants in Ukraine or somewhere else. But this is very, very unusual. And in addition to that, we also have another sub-hunter off the coast of Cape Cod today. Over the last 2 weeks, we've had sub-hunters off the coast of Cape Cod and Long Island, New York, every single day patrolling the waters for Russian subs, okay? So something is hanging out off the coast of Cape Cod that they're trying to keep an eye on. And also we have a nuclear bomber airborne over Louisiana right now, a B-52. Did this long patrol, went all the way to Georgia and then went all the way back. Very, very interesting. And then we also have a sub hunter flying really low over the Bahamas. Very interesting as well. And then here you can see the nuke sniffer yesterday over Nebraska. Okay. But we have some major breaking news coming in from the Trump administration. Sources told the Washington Post that Trump considered selling Ukraine Tomahawk missiles and that is still on the table. Trump asked Zelensky when they met last time why he didn't strike Moscow. Zelensky replied, "We can if you give us the weapons." Trump then replied and said that Ukraine needed to put more pressure on Putin, not just on Moscow, but St. Petersburg as well. Wow, okay, so Trump literally telling Zelensky, you need to strike St. Petersburg. You need to make sure that Putin is feeling the heat, okay? And I don't know if Trump is doing this because psychologically this is going to hurt Putin, because St. Petersburg is Putin's hometown. Okay, it's a very historic city as well. It's like one of the cultural cities in Russia, versus Moscow is kind of more of like an industrial or commercial city. Okay, St. Petersburg is like the historic city. So this is very, very serious, guys. Trump telling Zelensky to hit St. Petersburg, and he's considering selling Tomahawks to Ukraine for them to do it. Also, we're hearing that Trump is considering authorizing the delivery of the first AGM-158 JSAM air-launched cruise missiles, which have a range of over 200 miles and would be able to strike targets deep inside of Russia, to the Ukrainian Air Force for their fleet of F-16s, according to a recent report from Military Watch magazine. Okay, so Tomahawks, JSAMs. We also had 2 U.S. officials tell Axios over the weekend that the weapons that are going to be sold to Ukraine will allow Ukraine to hit Moscow and deep into central Russia, including St. Petersburg. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. Ukraine is now going to be able to use American weapons to strike all these important areas deep inside of Russia, which is one of Russia's red lines. So we're going to see what Putin does now. Also, Trump gave Putin a 50-day deadline to make a peace deal, or he's going to put 100% plus tariffs on Russia and also the countries that are supplying Russia with weapons, okay, like China, Iran, North Korea, etc., okay? And the U.S. will sell around $10 billion in weapons to NATO allies, who are then going to give that to Ukraine in the first wave. So this is just the first wave, guys. Okay, $10 billion worth of weapons. That's like 25% of all the weapons that Biden gave to Ukraine. And that's all going to happen just in the next couple of weeks. And Trump said yesterday that Ukraine would be provided with 17 Patriot batteries from allied nations in the coming days and weeks, and those Patriot batteries would then be backfilled by purchases of new batteries made in the U.S. Okay, 17 Patriot batteries. That is massive, guys. And employees in Moscow are now being moved to remote work due to the possibility of Ukrainian drone attacks in the next 2 weeks. The VTB Bank was the first to announce the switch to remote work. The bank's management warned staff of a possible attack within the next 2 weeks and instructed them to avoid the office located in the Moscow City complex. Wow. So, guys, Putin is going to really be furious now, because not only is the U.S. going to be selling Ukraine the best weapons, the long-range precision weapons, but also they're going to be selling 17 Patriot batteries, which are going to basically nullify any of the strikes that Russia can do on Ukraine with missiles. Now, they can still use drones, but the missile strikes will be very, very ineffective against 17 Patriot batteries, okay? And so, Putin is going to really be pushed into a corner now, so we'll have to see what he does. And NATO warned Russia it will strike Kaliningrad if the GPS jamming radars there cause an aviation crash. Russia has been jamming NATO airspace since the war in Ukraine began in 2022. So they have these GPS jammers set up in Kaliningrad that can jam GPS signals through the whole Baltic Sea area, northern Poland, the Baltic Sea, southern Sweden, the Baltic countries, okay? And that's dangerous. That can cause crashes, okay? So NATO warned Russia that it will strike those GPS jammers if they cause an aviation crash. And Germany has formally asked the Trump administration to provide Ukraine with 2 more Patriot batteries, according to Defense Minister Boris Pistorius. And in a July 3rd phone call, Putin told Trump he planned to escalate attacks and push towards full control of key Ukrainian regions within 60 days, okay? So, interestingly, a week later, Trump starts saying that he's very disappointed with Putin, and now he comes out with this massive announcement that he's going to sell all these long-range precision advanced weapons to Ukraine. It's because Putin told Trump that he was going to try to take control of more of these Ukrainian areas, okay? And Trump's representative to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, arrived in Ukraine on an emergency visit yesterday. Keith Kellogg promised that Ukraine would receive the best U.S. weapons to defend itself. And Dmitry Medvedev, the former president of Russia, said Trump issued a theatrical warning to the Kremlin and Russia did not care. Wow, so Medvedev basically mocking Trump, but he's not going to be laughing soon when Ukrainian Tomahawk missiles start pounding St. Petersburg and when 100% tariffs kick in on all of Russia's allied countries. And German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius told the Financial Times that German soldiers will be ready to kill Russian soldiers if Russia attacks a NATO country. According to him, this is not a threat but a sober warning. He said, "This is not about scaring anyone. It's about making it clear we want to live in peace with you, but don't think we are weak or unable to defend ourselves." Wow. And Trump said yesterday during his big announcement, "I am very unhappy with Russia. We will be doing secondary tariffs if we don't have a deal in 50 days. It's very simple. And there will be at least 100% tariffs. We will send them Patriots, which they desperately need because Putin really surprised a lot of people. He talks nicely and then bombs everybody in the evening. But there's a little bit of a problem there. I don't like it. They are going to pay us 100% for that." So he's saying that the Patriots will be paid 100%. Nothing is being given away for free. Trump clearly not happy with Putin bombing civilians. He also said Putin is a tough guy. He fooled a lot of people, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden, but not me. Trump also said NATO is paying for everything. We are not paying anything. Biden should have done this. He also said we have one country that has 17 Patriots getting ready to be shipped. They're not going to need them, so we're going to work a deal where the 17 will go, or a big portion of the 17, and that could be done very quickly, okay? So, huge news, guys. This is just historic news. And Trump said that Germany and other countries want to go very far regarding the Ukraine war. Putin needs to save his economy and save his country. Trump also said, "I hang up the phone with Putin. I say it was a great conversation, and then rockets fly to Kiev. Conversations don't matter." And President Trump suggested Monday that the First Lady Melania may have helped convince him to ramp up military aid to Ukraine, according to the New York Post. And NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said, if I was Vladimir Putin today, I would reconsider and take negotiations on Ukraine more seriously. Trump also said, we made a deal today where we are going to be sending them weapons and they're going to be paying for them. The U.S. will not be having any payment made. We're not buying it, but we will manufacture it and they will be paying for it. And an unidentified drone was shot down over the U.S. Embassy compound in northern Iraq in the city of Erbil. And the U.S. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said during an interview on Sunday with CBS News that the game regarding Putin's invasion of Russia is about to change. I expect in the coming days you will see weapons flowing at a record level to help Ukraine defend themselves. I expect in the coming days that there will be tariffs and sanctions available to President Trump he has never had before. I expect in the coming days more support from Europe regarding the efforts to help Ukraine. Putin made a miscalculation here. For 6 months, President Trump tried to entice Putin to the table. The attacks have gone up, not down. One of the biggest miscalculations Putin has made is to play Trump. Okay, so that's what Lindsey Graham is saying. And the Iranian parliament will beef up military spending aimed at strengthening their military for an all-out confrontation with Israel and the U.S., and Iran is still assessing the extent of the damage to the Fordow site after the U.S. strikes with the bunker busters. And Iran said negotiations with the U.S. will not take place if Washington insists on Iran abandoning enrichment. So Iran is doubling down and saying we will not abandon our enrichment. We want to continue enriching uranium, okay? And the U.S. military is now reducing its troops in the Middle East. The aircraft carrier Carl Vinson left the region and is now in the Indian Ocean. And meanwhile, 5 U.S. warships designed to intercept ballistic missiles have left the region. Only one remains in the Eastern Mediterranean. Okay, so huge pullback of U.S. forces in the Middle East after the Iran situation. And the U.S. Army said they will be conducting a series of military exercises in the Panama Canal. And the IAEA team at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant reported the sounds of hundreds of small arms fire last night. This potentially poses a threat to nuclear safety, according to the IAEA Director General. Okay, so small arms fire reported over the largest nuclear power plant in Europe, in Ukraine, 6 nuclear reactors. That's like 6 Chernobyls. And Ukrainian drones targeted a training center at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, but no damage was reported, according to Russia. And retired British Army General Sir Patrick Sanders said Britain must build bomb shelters immediately to prepare for war with Russia within the next 5 years. And France is doubling their defense budget by 2027, according to Emmanuel Macron, who said that freedom has never been so threatened since 1945. Wow. I'll say that again. Emmanuel Macron said freedom has never been so threatened since 1945. That is a strong statement there. And the German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius is in Washington meeting with U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth to seek clarity on American arms supplies to Ukraine, missile deployment plans, and the future of U.S. troop levels in Europe. And Germany only has 6 Patriot batteries left, according to the German Defense Minister. And Russia will firmly defend its interests in the Baltic region, according to Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, responding to Estonia's recent test of a HIMARS multiple-launch rocket system over the Baltic Sea. He said, The Baltic region is tense due to the aggressive policies of European coastal states. Russia intends to firmly defend its legitimate interests in this region, Peskov said during a briefing. The fact that many countries are engaged in provocative actions there is an obvious reality. His remarks follow Estonia's first use of HIMARS to strike simulated maritime targets in the Baltic Sea on July 11th. Tallinn received 6 HIMARS launchers in April of this year as part of a broader regional rearmament effort triggered by Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Okay, so Estonia testing HIMARS just a few days ago, and the Kremlin is furious about it. And Japan has approved a new defense strategy that warns of Chinese military escalation. And last week, we had Chinese naval forces enter territorial waters of Japan near the Senkaku Islands, okay? And mechanized infantry elements of the Taiwan Army conducted urban and counter-landing operations at entrances to the capital city of Taipei as part of the ongoing Han Kuang exercises taking place across Taiwan, which are the largest ever and are attempting to simulate a full-scale invasion by China. Taiwan also used their metro system to move missile troops around during these exercises. So we got to keep an eye on Taiwan. It looks like China is planning to make a move on Taiwan, potentially at the same time as Russia makes a move on the Baltics or makes some kind of big push in Ukraine. And declassified documents revealing a United States military aircraft was previously struck by an unknown flying object is raising eyebrows as experts point to other unexplainable sightings suggesting otherworldly technology flying within the U.S. airspace. The incident occurred in January 2023 after an unidentified object collided with the left side of an F-16 Viper jet participating in training exercises near Gila Bend, Arizona, an Air Force spokesman confirmed. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I wanted to mention also that YouTube is no longer showing my live streams. If you go on your mobile device, and I know like over 50% of you guys watch my channel on mobile devices, if you look up NYPrepper on YouTube, or if you go to my YouTube page, you will not see that I'm live if you're using a mobile device. It doesn't show it, okay? It doesn't show the thumbnail and the title of my live stream. What you have to do is you have to actually click on my logo. You're going to see like a red halo around my logo, and you need to actually touch my logo, okay, surrounded by the red halo, and that will take you to my live stream. All right. Another option is to download my app. It's free for Android and iPhone, and the links to my app are in the description below this video. I send out alerts through the app when things are going down, and there's always a connection to my live stream through the app. And until the next time, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video.